Are you thinking about rebuilding your website? I want you to stop. If you don't do it the right way, you could lose all of your Google rankings, leads, and revenue overnight. In this video, I'm going to break down all of the biggest SEO mistakes that contractors and local businesses make when launching a new website. And I'll even tell you how to avoid them so that way your business doesn't disappear from search results immediately. My name is Adam McChesney, and over the last 6 years, I've now worked with over 500 companies on their digital marketing to help them grow and scale their businesses in the online footprint. Now let's go make some money. So the first thing I want to talk about here is some of the costly mistakes that contractors make here in 2025 when it comes to redesigning a website. It's so important for you as a business owner to understand why this is important. And I understand that you're going to be super excited about a fresh new website. I know business owners that rebuild their websites or they hire somebody to do it and they are so ready to go. But there is an exact process that you need to take, which we'll dive into here in a second, that will walk you through what you need to actually do from an SEO perspective on that new website. Last year, I had been doing SEO with a company and was doing their SEO for about 6 months. And they decided to redesign their website with a local company that was a friend of theirs. Now, this person was just a website designer, had probably amazing intentions. And the site itself actually looked pretty decent. So we didn't build their initial website. We were literally just doing the SEO, and then we were continuing to do the SEO after the fact. Well, what happened is they redesigned this website. They took it from like a 50-page website down to an 8-page website. And then they didn't cross over a lot of the SEO stuff that I'll share with you here in a second. And they were on page 1 of Google, and within literally 7 days, they were on page 10 of Google. And now this is a market that wasn't even super competitive with not a lot of competition. So just imagine if you were in a very competitive market and in a very competitive city as well. So like you were in roofing in Dallas, it could be a lot worse, right, than what we saw right here. So it's super important for you to understand that this is something that can happen. So the next thing that I want to dive into is your URL structure and redirects. If you go changing your URLs, so let's just say you have a URL that says Adams Roofing Company /roof repair, and then you change that, or the new website person changes that specific page to services /roof repair. Well, then without a 301 redirect, that is the equivalent of like tearing down a billboard, and everybody was used to seeing your billboard right there, and then they don't have any idea where to go find you. So you want to make sure that you fix or structure your URLs in an effective way. Now, I tell people is just, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So just use the same URL structure that you currently have on your website in the new website, as long as it's working, and you'll be just fine. Then comes the on-page SEO elements. So your titles, your meta descriptions, and the overall keywords, like the actual content of the website, either needs to be A, carried over, apples to apples, or improved upon. So a lot of times people are like, well, Adam, my SEO, my website sucks right now. Why am I doing the same thing? Well, that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is if you have a ton of solid rankings, if your SEO is working, the last thing that you want to do is to see that tank. And what most people don't understand is when you do rebuild your website, regardless if you knock everything out of the park, you are likely for 30 days going to see a little bit of a dip because Google's just re-indexing your stuff. And there's new content likely, even if you try to keep it as much 100% the same as it is, you're likely going to see a little bit of a dip. But hopefully that little dip has a massive hockey stick upwards trend after that. Page speed and mobile optimization is also very crucial. Ideally, your new website should be faster and load faster and be more mobile friendly to keep those rankings than what you currently have. Again, if it's not, then you're going in the wrong direction. Now, with content and internal linking, if you remove certain pages, so I mentioned and gave that example earlier of somebody going from a 50-page website down to 8 pages. You are going to see some issues and some decreases pretty quickly because of that. But let's just say I have a ton of interlinking going on, meaning that on my homepage, I have a link to my roof repair page and then a link to my roof replacement page and then to all the service area pages. Well, if I don't have that internal linking on the new websites, that is also going to tank some of your organic traffic and do that almost overnight. As well as if I have like 500 words on every single page and then I roll out the new site with like 200 words, going to be a lot of issues. So the good news is there is a right way to rebuild your website without losing all of this SEO stuff. So what I recommend you doing, but more importantly, the person that's rebuilding your website, I recommend when you go to have somebody redesign your website is to say, hey, audit my current website from an SEO foundation standpoint and tell me what the plan of attack is with my website in this new redesign. Now, for example, if they come back with something very, very generic, or they say that's not super important, that's a massive red flag. They should be doing this regardless if you ask for it or not, but ideally you don't have to ask for it and they just give this to you, but you should understand that this is something that you need to be asking. And what you're looking for is, there's going to be probably a couple of pages that account for like the top 80% of all of your traffic and leads. And so those are the ones that are most crucial and making sure that there's no issues and that it's an apples to apples build out. So you want to be identifying the pages that bring in leads and rank super well. And hopefully as they're building the new website or you're building the new website, you're using a staging site. So we do that for all of our clients. We are never going to push live without testing all of this stuff first. And with that, again, those 301 redirects are like a non-negotiable. You need to understand in that audit, what URLs do we have right now? What are the new URLs going to be? And again, hopefully they're just the same. But if there are URL changes, make sure that it then points to the new right place. And as you're doing this and everything is finished, launched, etc., you need to make sure that you resubmit your sitemap over to Google so that way Google knows about your new structure. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is if you ignore this and you have one of those SEO horror stories, like you need to understand like what you need to do in order to go fix it, right? So that contractor that I was talking to you about earlier that went from a 50-page website down to 8, we had done the SEO prior and then we're doing the SEO after. We were just kind of stuck in the middle and had to overwork and go back and fix everything. We were able to fix everything and improve where he was at from basically the new website launch and losing all those rankings to getting a lot of those back. But it did take close to 90 days. And they paid a premium for that, right? Like they shouldn't have had to pay for the work we already did in theory, right? But that other site, that other website company that they were working with literally was supposed to send us over everything before launching the new site. And they didn't. They just launched it and then didn't tell anybody. So again, communication is really, really big throughout all of this stuff. You want to make sure that everybody's on the same page, especially if you're working with multiple companies, because if you don't, it's going to take a while to recover some of that stuff. SEO and losing that SEO can take months. Again, it depends on what the SEO was before, how bad the SEO is after, how many competitors you have, what is the competitiveness of your industry as a whole. But when done correctly, like on the front end, I know I'm kind of like scaring people a little bit, but this is not super difficult. You literally just need to communicate with your current company, apples to apples. What I have here, I want there. And then you can go build out it a little bit more further. I always tell people, there are a lot of website companies that are just glorified either graphic designers or IT companies that will say, we include on-site search engine optimization, or we include X, Y, and Z, but they really have no idea what's going on. So ask, right? Like, what does it look like working with you? And how can you show me some of these things of you building new websites and not losing those rankings? So I hope you got some value from this video. Again, I know it's not a fun subject to talk about, the things that could go wrong, but we're seeing it happen more and more in this competitive marketplace where people are rebuilding websites, but working with the wrong companies. And even if their website and SEO wasn't crushing it before, they're seeing a pretty significant decrease very early on after relaunching that website. And that's not something that anybody wants. So now that you know, what you need to do to avoid when rebuilding your website, let's go ahead and take that next step. Make sure to join our free Facebook group where we share daily tips on SEO and digital marketing for local contractors and small businesses just like yourself. You can go over to Facebook and type in Builders of Authority into the search bar or click the link below in the description. And if you're serious about getting a new website that actually drives leads without killing your rankings, make sure to head over to AdamMcChesney.com, also a link in the description. And to schedule a free discovery call with us, you can just fill out a contact form. Myself or someone from our team will be in contact with you shortly. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, and comment with your thoughts. Now let's go make some money.